Hi all, welcome to part 2, module 3, computer network. So module 3 is basically about the network layer functionality, the core network layer functionality, that is routing, and we already seen the desirable properties of routing and an overview of it. Now let's move on to the types of routing in the main classification, that is non-adaptive and adaptive routing. So the routing algorithms can be grouped into two major classes, that is non-adaptive routing and adaptive routing. So the word itself, you can understand what does it mean literally. So the non-adaptive algorithm are not ready to adapt at all, right? So they do not base their routing decision on any measurement or estimates of the current topology or net traffic. So what will happen to the topology or traffic, I'm not going to worry about it, so let it change over time, but I will be fixed. So that kind of an attitude is being followed by non-adaptive. So it's otherwise called static routing. So this non-adaptive routing is otherwise called static because I'm not ready to adapt to the changes happening in the network, but where adaptive in the sense adaptive to the network topology change as well as the traffic pattern change, etc. So if a particular path is found to be more traffic prone, the routing algorithm will be choosing a different path, a less traffic path, or some network topology changes or something, some failure happened, so definitely it will be choosing a different path. So if the algorithm is ready to change its decision as per the or it is it is ready to adapt to the changes happening to the network, so it is what we call as the dynamic routing algorithm or the adaptive routing algorithm, right? So instead, so it is not ready to adjust with the changes. Instead, the choice of route to use, say from reaching from node I to node J, for all pair of routers, say I and J, is computed in advance offline and downloaded to the routers when the network is booted. So this decision making is happening at the beginning. Once you get the picture of the network in advance, before starting the working of the network, you will run your static non-adaptive routing algorithm, and you will be running it offline because you are not going to see the changes in the network. You have a picture of the network, and once you started into implementation, you are not going to see what is going to happen. It's simply based on the network picture in your mind. So that network you can map to some graph, right? You can identify the route, and that route means routing algorithm, and its output will be available, maybe uploaded in the network, and that will be downloaded by each and every router which are executed, which are part of your current network, and they will simply execute it. And once this network device is booted up, they will download your routing, the particular routing decision, that is that routing table being decided by routing algorithm, and they will use it. And the algorithm is not going to change, and everything is happened in an offline mode only. So this procedure is sometimes called static routing. So because it does not respond to the failures, the static routing is mostly useful for situation in which the routing choice is clear. If your application is like that, where the dynamic changes you don't have to consider, then of course you can go with the static routing. So adaptive routing, in contrast, change their routing decisions to reflect the changes that is happening to the network topology, and sometimes the changes happening in the traffic pattern as well. So that is what is preferred in any practical network, right? So the dynamic routing algorithm differ in, so if you look at different, so we will study this dynamic algorithm and static algorithms. Of course, we will start with some introduction to a few static routing algorithm, of course the shortest path algorithm and all, and then we move on to dynamic algorithm, the two popular dynamic algorithm, that is Dijestra's the distance vector routing algorithm and link state routing algorithm. Two of them we will see in the dynamic category. And once you see that the dynamic algorithm, whether it is distance vector algorithm or link state algorithm or some other dynamic algorithm, you can see that the algorithms were varying with respect to different parameters. For example, they differ in from where they are getting their information. So how they will build the routing table by having the picture of the network, and as well as that changes happening in the network should be updated somehow, right? So the network topology changes, or a particular node failure happened, or a link failure happened, or something traffic is high in this path. So all these informations from where they are getting, in the sense whether they are getting it locally from the neighbors, adjacent routers, or from all routers together. So if the updates were coming from all routers together, it was something more better one, right? But local information you can't trust, because something else could be happening globally and it may be communicated differently by the local thing. But anyway, both algorithms were there. We have algorithms which are based on the local information, and also we have algorithms that are working based on the global information, right? So, and another one, when the changes, once initially they will come up with the, or they will converge to a fixed set of path, and then later on, based on the changes happening to the topology as well as to the traffic, the changes in the routing path will happen, right? So when that changes are happening, so whether it is happening when topology changes only, or it is happening in every, say, delta t second as load changes. So this is something more flexible, right? In every, say, delta t seconds of time, the algorithm is dynamically changing its its path and all. So this is something more good one, like that we feel. Or other way, simply when topology changes, that time only. So this is somewhat static, right? So this is something we preferred, but we have algorithms that run in the both category. And another one, what metric is used for optimization? So whether you are trying to optimize the distance, say in kilometers, or the number of hops, or the estimated transmission time, or the delay. So what metric the algorithm is based? So all those things will be different for different dynamic routing algorithms. So that about the two major categories of routing algorithm. Now before moving on to this algorithm, let's see a principle called the principle of optimality, the optimality principle. So this is something not in from computer network. This is an algorithm concept, say by Bellman, the scientist Bellman in 1957 made this statement, and it's made as a general statement about the optimal route. So why it is significant here? Because it is dealing with the, so it is saying something about optimal routes in a given network. So it's a general statement that is applicable to other situations, even other context even, so without regard to network topology or traffic. So this is a more general statement independent of the topology as well as traffic. So what we can say about an optimal route, right? So that is by Bellman, the scientist, in he made the statement in or the principle in 1957. So the statement is like that: if router J is on the optimal path from router I to router K. So something like this. Let me write like this. So this is router I, and this is router K. I know that from I to K, take the optimal path from I to K, right? From take the optimal path. So there are many paths connecting I to K, say this one, this one, this one, and let it be the optimal path from I to K. So this optimal path, in the sense, it may be optimal in terms of the distance or in terms of the delay or some other parameter. Anyway, say the parameters are fixed, and based on the parameter, let it be the optimal path. So or it is the shortest one, or it is the best one, that's all. Or maybe the one with the maximum throughput, or the one with the minimum delay, whatever it is. So this is the optimal one, and in that optimal path I have another node, so that is J, right? So all of them are routers. So router J is on the optimal path from router I to router K. Then the principle states that the optimal path from J to K also falls along the same route, right? So from J to K, either it can, as this J is on the way from I to K. So I just at some later point I want to know what is the optimal path from J to K. So from J to k, this is one way, and there is another ways also, like this is another way, say through some other node, some other intermediate nodes, say another path is also there through some other paths and all, right? Now what is the optimal path from j to k? Let me call it as path 1, let me call this path as which is part of the I to k as path 2, and this as path 3. So whether P1, P2 or P3 is optimal. The statement says that this P2 is optimal. Why? Because I already know that the path from I to k is optimal. So as soon as the path from I to k is optimal, right, the path from and j is on the way, or j is lying in the path from I to k, so definitely the path from j to k is also the optimal path from j to k is the one that is lying in optimal path that is already made, that is from I to k. Hope it is clear. So in this example, I am having the guarantee that the optimal path from j to k is P2 only. It is not P1 or P3. Why it is P2? Because this P2 is part of I to k path. I already know that the optimal path from I to k, that optimal path is what is shown in the figure, right, from I to k. So as j is lying on that path, I can definitely say that the optimal path from j to k is P2 only. It is not going to be P1 or P3. Why it is so? So let me give you a small proof for this. Just listen to this. It's something you could be knowing in your algorithm class and all already. So let me break this path, the optimal path from I to k, into two parts. Say from I to j, the path let it be R1, and from j to k, the path let it be R2 or P2. Okay. So R1, P2, fine. Or you can call it as R2 also. Maybe in the textbook it is written like that. So whatever it is. Now tell me what is the optimal path from I to k? Optimal path from I to k is actually R1, P2, right? Now the question is whether the, so this is the optimal path from, so by concatenating R1 with the P2, I am getting the optimal path from I to k. So that is something I already know. Now why I am strongly saying that the optimal path from j to k is P2 only, and it is not going to be P1 or P3. See, so you are telling me like it is not P2, it is P1. So you have an evidence that it is P1. So, right, if it is P1, then for traveling from I to k, why I have to choose this R1, P2? Why not R1, P1? If from j to k the optimal path is P1, definitely from I to k the optimal path will be R1 and P1. I don't have to use R2 and P2, right? So that is this where it is contradicting my original statement. My original statement say that this is optimal. This is optimal. And later I am saying that no, this from j to k P2 is not optimal, P1 is optimal. If P1 is optimal, definitely my original statement is going to be wrong. So this is contradicting the original statement. So as long as the original statement is correct, this optimal path will be P2 only from j to k. Is it clear? So this is from the principle of the contradiction. So that is this proof technique you may already learned in your discrete mathematics class even. So just if you still have doubt, just watch this part of the video again. It will be clear for you. Now let me see this. To see this, call the part of the route from I to j to be R1 and rest that is from j to k to be R2. I taken like a P2, in the text it is R2. So if a route better than R2 exists from j to k, it could be concatenated to R1, the first part, to improve the route from I to k, right? So that contradicting our statement that R1, R2 is optimal. So first I made the statement R1, R2 is optimal. If R1, R2 is optimal, definitely R2 is also optimal. So if other than R2, if I am getting something different, then R1, R2 is not going to be optimal. So that is what makes, so this is a very very nice theorem. So it has to be linked with our routing problem. So that linking statement I am going to make next. Listen carefully. So as a direct consequences of the optimality principle, we can see that the set of optimal routes from all sources to a given destination form a tree rooted at the destination. So this will definitely a tree. It is not going to be a graph. So you try to visualize by yourself. It is somewhat difficult for me to explain even. So why it should be a tree. So what the author is trying to say, the set of all optimal routes from all sources to a given destination. So we are making our tree rooted at the destination, right? So it is a kind of destination rooted tree. So destination is otherwise called a sing, source and sing, right? So we call it a sing tree. And let me take A is one node and B is another node and C is another node, and I have a destination, say D. So I am focusing on my single tree rooted at D. So single tree rooted at D means from the source A, what is the optimal path to D? From the source B, what is the optimal path to D? From the source C, what is the optimal path to the sink or the destination D? So this is definitely going to be a tree, but not a graph. So you know the difference between graph and tree in your data structure classes or other classes. In graph there will be cycles, right? Tree there will not be. Why it is so? It is because it will never going to make any cycle. We will see an example in the next slide. Cycle in the sense, tell me the chance of cycle, in between, suppose there is a node A, B, C, say X is a node here. If I feel like from A to D this is optimal path, and from X to D this is an optimal path. See, you can see a cycle here, right? But this is not going to happen. That is what is stated by the optimality principle. So that is what preventing it from a graph, and we can clearly see that it is a tree. And ultimately what any routing algorithm is trying to achieve is coming up with all these single tree at every destination. So as a direct sequence of the optimality principle, we can see that the optimal routes from all the sources to a given destination form a tree routed at that destination. Such a tree is called a sing tree because it is destination or it is sing, source and sing, right? Sing based tree, as illustrated in the next slide, where the distance metric is taken to be number of hop. In that example which we will see, distance is taken to be number of hop only, or you can make it distance, original distance, say in kilometers, whatever it is. So the goal of all routing algorithm is to discover and use the sing trees for all routers. So ultimately any routing algorithm is trying to visualize this kind of a sing tree on the background, or that it may be represented by means of a table in most cases, but that is basically a sing tree. So here we have that example. So left side we have a complicated network, and right side it's shown the sing tree at the router B. So when you take B as a destination, everybody want to communicate it to B, right? And to which path they will all follow. For example, from the source A, treating A as a source, what is the optimal path to B? I find out that this one, because it is by a direct single hop communication, right? It is directly connected. So this one. Similarly, from F, what is the optimal path to B? So that is going to be FAB, right? From K again, KFAB. What we are saying, that why it is a tree from F to B, definitely I will not get. So this is something you have to be clear. I will not get. So here it is shown like from F to B, the optimal path is FAB. But I am saying that this F is connected to H. See, suppose I want to reach B, I have a different route. So from F, let me move on to H. From H, I am going to E. From E, J. In this way also I can reach B. Now if I am taking such a path, right, so such a path, definitely the number of hop is more, and also chances are there for a cycle kind of thing, right? So hope it is you can visualize the concept. So this is from that optimality principle. So try to digest by yourself. So what it is trying to say, in particularly in this example, you can see that all the paths being shown in that diagram where with respect to number of hop, the optimal one. For example, f to b, only 2 hop if you are using this path. If you are using this kind of path, number of hop will be more. Or you can go to k, l, definitely that is not optimal. Similarly, if say from k, so to reach b, now I have a 3 hop, right? K to f, f to a to b. If I am using a different path, say k to l, I may be wondering whether it is L to M, L to N. Say number of hop is found to be more. So anyway, this is clear, right? In the sense this particular tree, single tree rooted at B is containing minimum number of hop when you look into any source. So take B as the destination. Take all other nodes as the source. Say M is a source. From M to B, what is the optimal path? So simply you can traverse the path by going through the tree. So by taking the parental relation, say for M the parent is N, for N the parent is J, for J the parent is E. In the sense, I mean from J I can go to E or C, but E it is stopping at that point to C, and from C it is B. So like that you can traverse the path. So as it is a tree, it is very easy for you to reach the whenever M want to send some information, simply don't have any confusion. So this kind of a tree representation is what we are expecting as the output of our routing algorithm. Okay, maybe a routing table, and the routing table should give this kind of an information. So ultimately in any routing algorithm we are trying to form this kind of a sync tree for any node on the way. And it will never be a graph, in the sense if I am saying that from A to F to B, from K to B, this is a route, right? So from K to B, K F A B, and from F to B it is not, it is something like this. Then from K to B also the best route will be K F and B. It is not going to be K F A B, something like that. So this is something like this will not happen. So that is what the optimality principle is trying to say. I tried my best to explain, or you can read that textbook even to understand more. So that about the sync tree. Now something more about the sync tree. Note that a sync tree is not necessarily a unique one, because if you look at the number of hop itself, 3 hop itself, there will be more than one path to get that 3 hop, and accordingly you may get more than one sync tree. But finally that optimal one, if you are getting a different one also, the total number of hop, something like a minimum span in tree, that concept, if you are getting something like that, that is fine. The total weight is has to be minimum, and that should be unique. All trees with the same path length may exist. Other trees may also exist with the same number of hop. So since a single tree is indeed a tree, it does not contain any loops, something I already said. So the packet will be delivered within finite bounded number of hops to the sink, that is nothing but the destination. So that is very clear. It is not going to means if your routing algorithm is clever enough, its correctness is maintained. If it correctly generated a single tree on the background for every destination, then your routing is deterministic, in the sense it is not going to loop around a certain part of the path and all. If something like that is happening, that is a problem with your routing algorithm. If the routing algorithm is good enough, it will generate such a single tree, and on the background you have the confidence that whatever information being communicated will be delivered in finite number of steps, also in a bounded, and it will never go beyond some limit, right? So after bounded number of hops, it will be delivered to the destination. So that guarantee way is what we have. So links and routers can go down and come back during the operation. So different routers may have different ideas about the current topology. Of course, the dynamicity is there. Also there is an issue of whether each router has to individually acquire the information on which base its sync tree computation, or whether this information is collected by some other means. So that's to have that sync tree computation, means to get that dynamic information in its hand, whether it will acquire it individually by its neighbors and all, or whether a third party is there to help them to collect all those information and hand it over them. So that is another criteria. So nevertheless, the optimality principle and the concept of sync tree provide a benchmark against which other routing algorithm can be measured. So whenever you are, maybe in future you may come up with a new routing algorithms, you can base this concept of optimality principle and the outcome of it, that is sync tree, as a benchmark to measure the performance of your routing algorithm. And if it is something going with this and it is running time is better than the existing algorithm, so definitely your algorithm could be used in our future network. So that's all. Thanks for watching. Now in the next video onwards, we will directly move on to different routing algorithms. Yeah, so that about sync tree and optimality principle.